Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about important stuff. Not just important, but very important. So I want you guys to raise your hand if after classes you ever went back to your room or your dorm and you felt lonely. Okay, thanks for the honesty. So the American College Health Association did a survey of about 28,000 students across 51 different campuses. And of those 28,000 students, over 60% of them have said they felt very lonely within the past 12 months. And I thought about it, and there's a simple solution, and that is hamsters. Okay, so this September I actually got a hamster, and it's changed my life in ways I wouldn't think it would. So I believe college students should get a hamster because it is easy to sneak into a dorm. It gives the students something to do. They are low maintenance and inexpensive. Okay, so you got a hamster. How are you going to sneak this into the room without anyone noticing? So a few weeks ago, I actually helped a friend sneak a hamster into her dorm room, and we didn't even have to hide anything. We just walked in because the thing is, college students don't care really. But let's say you want to be more cautious and not get caught. So one thing you can do is if you take multiple trips. You take one trip, you have take all the small items, put it in a bag, but then you still have to get this big cage in the room. So an easy solution is just put it in a trash bag and walk into the room. No one's going to think otherwise. They're just going to think you're carrying trash into your room. Okay, now the other problem is during fire alarms and room checks, what do we do next? So what's very important is if you become friends with an RA. Now, this doesn't mean you're friends with them. You could tell them you have a pet, because that won't be good. But instead, they might warn you that there's going to be a fire drill, and that way, bring your hamster with you, or even get them out of the room before it happens. Now, during room checks, one thing which can help is if you have a friend on the same floor as you, they can warn you saying, "Hey, someone's gonna come check your room." But what's important is your hamster's safety. So you have to make sure they're still able to breathe. So don't just shove them in a closet and without any air. But maybe you put a blanket over, and for that minute they check, they leave, just take the blanket off, that way they can breathe again. Okay, so you got the hamster in your room. What do you do now? Well, the reason college students should get a hamster is because it gives them something to do. So one thing you gotta do when you first get a hamster is tame it. When you first get a hamster, they're not normally tame. They might bite you because they're afraid of you. But every day you spend a few minutes with them, maybe you feed them, show them you're not the enemy, place your hand gently down, that way they're not scared of you. It gives you a few minutes every day that, hey, this is my pet and I love them. Next thing you do, you could play or watch them. So what's nice about a hamster, they are a pet and they are cuddly creatures. So if you're ever sad, like in the beginning when I said if you're ever lonely, they are a pet and they are there to make you happy. Because hamsters aren't like dogs, they're not super sociable. So they don't know when you're upset, but they still act happy because they're hamsters. They're not the brightest creatures in the world. Okay? Some hamsters, like dwarf hamsters or robust hamsters, are very active. So you could just watch them in their wheel, running around, or I know this is a little controversial, but you can put them in a ball. The last thing is you can create. Now, what do I mean by create? Well, if you're on your downtime and you have nothing else to do between homework and studying, you could make things for your hamster. So this past month, I actually made 4 Halloween costumes for my hamster. That sounds kind of crazy. I'm that crazy hamster mom. But I made him a dinosaur, Captain America, Batman, and Mario. I made 4 costumes for my hamster. He doesn't like it, I'll tell you that right now. But it gave me something to do when I was bored. Okay, they are low maintenance. So a lot of us, we're college students. We are very busy people. We go to our classes, we go home, we study, and we do our homework. And what's nice is they don't need as much attention as other pets. For example, you have to walk your dog at least once a day. There are certain hamster necessities though. They need their food, water, and a wheel. That's the primary 3 things. They can have more. So what you want to do is you want to feed your hamster every time it runs out of food pretty much. And with the water, it's really easy because my hamster personally has an 8-ounce water bottle, and he does not drink it often at all. So you only have to replace it every few days or even every few weeks. And the last thing is, if you ever go on a trip, if you have a dog, it's really hard to bring a dog on a trip. You're either going to have to find a kennel for it, a dog sitter, or even paying extra at a hotel. With a hamster, they could live on their own for a few days, and that way you could enjoy yourself while they enjoy themselves. Hamsters are pretty inexpensive. So, according to a TD Ameritrade, they explored financial habits of millennial pet owners, and the dog owners said they spend over $1,200 a year on their dog, while cat owners spend over $900 on their cat. An average hamster owner spends about $100, maybe $150, depending on how much they pay for this hamster. One thing they could do is make DIY toys and other things for your hamster. So one thing which is really cheap, you could buy a cage at a pet store, or you can even make your own. This is one of the DIY bin cages. This is mine right now. That's my hamster in the corner. And what I did, I bought a bin at Walmart for about $10, and I used objects at my house to cut the top to make sure he has air, and I put a little wire thing on top as well, which I already had in my house. So this cage only costs $10, and it is, I believe, bigger than most pet store cages. Another thing which is cheap is playpens. So again, this is just a box at my house. My dad bought a lawnmower in the summer, and I just kept the box for whatever reason, but in September it came to use, and I turned it into my hamster's playpen. And let's say you don't have a box at your house, you could even go to Dollar Tree, buy 3 of those giant 3-panel things, make a box even bigger than this right here for your hamster to play in. The last thing is this right here, which is just tissue boxes and popsicle sticks. And this is a little hut, so hamsters like going and being safe because they are animals of prey, and they want to be safe. So using something like tissue box, which we already have at our house, can help save money. In conclusion, college students should get a hamster because they are easy to sneak into their dorm room. They help fight boredom and even loneliness. They are low maintenance animals, and they are inexpensive. Thank you.
Stay tuned for scenes from our next episode. What did you decide?
They removed a large portion of your pancreas, which means that to rinse it every time you brush.